What's poppin', y'all? We back with the Squid Games Aftermath podcast. I am your humble host, DeAndre Player 288, and we here with a special friend of mine, a player who has, similar had a similar storyline to myself, and we had to go through some post-game trauma together.
Yeah.
My friend Zach Chaloux, player 98. What's poppin', Zach?
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. It's good to see you again. We called a couple of weeks ago, but it's good to see your face.
Yeah, always, man. I ain't seen your handsome face in a minute, man. You looking pristine. What's that hair product you using, boy?
This is the thing on the show. I couldn't they didn't let me bring it, so I just was rocking the Bieber cut the whole time, and that was fun. But I'm getting a lot of Bieber DMs where they're like Bieber, and I'm like, guys, it doesn't look like that normally. I promise. So this is nice. I can clear my reputation a little bit. My hair goes back. It doesn't go.
Yeah, well, a real Zach, please stand up, and he's here. He's showing y'all the look, y'all.
I got FOMO. I saw a lot of other people were doing this, and then you asked me, and I was like, yes, of course. You're on the grind. I gotta jump in. Hey, congrats on 1,000 subscribers, by the way.
Oh well, thank you, man. We on our way uphill like the Jeffersons, and we about to keep this thing going, man.
This is not relevant to Squid Games, but I saw you interviewed Clayton from The Bachelor, and that's great. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, that's my actually good friend from college. We played college football together. So I've known Clayton for a very long time. Great dude. Knew him before he went on the show and was a Bachelor, and I talked to him the day before he went filming. So
no way. Did you tell him when you did this?
Yeah, I told him. So he gave me a little advice on whatnot. But I mean, it's a completely different show, like a dating show, and then this show. So.
Dating shows, I feel like the dating show's got to be harder in a lot of ways because your personal life is so public.
Yeah, it's that, and then you kind of got to act a certain way. You got to be real contained and controlled, or else you kind of got to look crazy because the slightest thing you do, you raise your voice in the slightest pitch, people think you're yelling. So it's...
Yeah, and I think people are more forgiving of it too on Squid Games. You see in 432, obviously we had played this big game, but people are online, people are mad about it, sure, but also people are kind of he brought the energy. He was playing to win. He was himself. And I feel like you get more of a pass doing it on a game like this than you would, like you said, raising your voice on The Bachelor.
Yeah, I mean, they crucify you on that. I mean, that Big Brother, you get crucified because it's 24/7 feeds. And,
oh, yeah.
It's certain shows. It's just you got to know what you're getting yourself into. And
yeah,
that's how it goes. But as is what it is. So, first off, we're going to dive into it. Why did you apply for Squid Games, the challenge?
Oof. It was really and I think a lot of people probably have the story where I've just been applying for years for Survivor or other shows. And I had been interviewed and stuff, but I never really made it that far in the process. And I'd kind of given up on it because I don't know, making those videos is very kind of embarrassing. You make the video and you just kind of gas yourself up and you're like, this is embarrassing. I can't believe someone's going to watch this. And then, yeah. Well, I mean, I got good at it, right? Because we made it on the show. You know exactly the kind of things you need to say, but it's still you're sitting there and you're editing it. And I'm like, damn, I sound like such a knob. I'm just just sound like such a cocky asshole. I'm just talking about how awesome I am and all this and that and this and that. And then, so then Squid Game comes around and that casting call was everywhere. People were hearing it on the radio. It was on the news. People were calling me and they were like, you got to apply because they had known I'd been applying for stuff. At that point, I was kind of just burnt out from it and I was kind of done. And I was like, fine. So I just kind of set up my webcam and did it in 30 seconds. I don't even remember what I said on it. I made the video and then I submitted it and I was so embarrassed about it. I just deleted it. I was like, I'll never hear from them again. I'll just fucking delete it, whatever. And then 2 months later, I get the call and I had completely forgotten I'd even applied. And I was like, what? The Squid Game's the challenge? And I was like, oh, shoot. I got to, and then here we are.
Yeah, your 30-second video did it. I think the impromptu quick videos without being all specially edited are the best ones. I mean, that's how I do mine. Just do it one shot and then we're good. I don't really even watch it. I just make sure I did it right and then I'm good. Because I think if you put too much effort in trying to edit it and cut this, it just looks a little inauthentic. Yeah. I mean, some people, I don't know if you saw the dude who did the rap video.
Are they online? Can you Google it?
It's in the group chat, but it's old.
Oh, okay.
Old.
Oh God.
I mean, you could probably YouTube that one. I'm pretty sure that one's on YouTube. And I'll give you the video after this because I know the guy's name. But
if you're gonna put all the effort into it, you might as well post it on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of look. No dissing to you, my friend.
Of course.
I mean, I haven't spoken to this man since the show, but it's kind of cringe to me. That's just my opinion. I mean, I'll send it to you after we're done.
Yeah, please. I mean, you're totally right. Because I like again, I've done it for years, and I always put like so much effort into it. It was always like a big like production for me, and it never went anywhere. And then the 30-second one that I have no memory of shooting that I deleted immediately, that's the one that gets you on. Like whatever. So it goes.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
definitely just no. Go ahead.
yeah. They just want you to be yourself. Like, and that's best when it's unfiltered. When you're just one clean shot of you talking about yourself. Like I had no B-roll, I had no cool shots of me jumping off of cliffs into lakes. It was kind of just me talking.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's the way to go. So
Yeah.
you find out you get cast on the show after months and months of anticipating and all the extra stuff that goes into it. And you're packing your bags the night before you get on the plane to head out. What's kind of going through your mind?
Freaking out. I mean, like you probably too, but like, dude, I was like so excited, just so much adrenaline. I feel like I was at an 11 from like the week before we were gonna shoot till like in a week after, like, and then you have that big crash that like they warned us about. Like, you go to they take you to that little therapy session and they're like, you're gonna crash, but like you're just at an 11, just such an adrenaline rush for so long, and that was kind of consistent. Like I kind of just got used to just being at like this like super like hype like level. Like I mean, you probably felt the same exact way, but like I don't even remember it. Like I look back on it and it's like it kind of just feels like a blur to me.
No, 100%. I mean, it kind of came. It was a really endorphin high for the
Yeah.
longest time. It felt like, and then it just is gone. Like Thanos snapped his fingers and
Yeah.
everybody's disappeared. And
Especially for us.
yeah, no, exactly. Like we were in there, for the time we were, and then boom, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, like back to reality, Slim Shady style.
Although for like a 2-week shoot, we were there for half of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. We were there for essentially majority of the time. I mean,
Yeah.
the first few days we were there for a while.
Which is surprising because like for me, it's I'm out the first episode. You make it to the second episode, but for me, it's like I'm out first episode. So it's weird that we were there for as long as we were. If you like just watch the show,
Yeah, man. I don't know why they couldn't put you on the cliffhanger, man. They had to put a brother on.
we were not interesting enough. It was you and Hikmet.
Oh gosh, we'll get into that in a minute. So,
Yeah, I'm sure.
So you decided, getting ready to go. You get on the plane, head out, and you do the little quarantine and whatnot. And so wake up super early in the morning.
What side of the building were you on? Were you facing the river or were you facing the other buildings?
The boats actually in the back.
Oh, nice. That was a good view too.
It was all right. The bridge was 10 times better though. Like I went and we were in this hotel by the London Bridge, and I was Blue's Clues. Like I was just bored, and so I was walking down the hallways into the back, and I finally saw the bridge because I heard people talk about the bridge. I'm like, I ain't seen no damn bridge yet. And so I finally saw it. So I was standing there watching the bridge for like a good hour and a half. It's like
you got to soak it all in.
Yeah. So, and I went back to that bridge this past summer too, which was fun. The same hotel I went back just to look at everything.
Are you kidding? No way. Damn, I got to do that. That probably was very therapeutic.
Yeah, no, and it's funny, right when I was, not to get off topic, right when I was outside the hotel, this random guy stops me and he's like, hey, you look familiar. You famous? I was like, what? He's like, you look so familiar. I was like, bro, what is going on? Right in the hotel.
Maybe he was there. Maybe he just remembered you.
I don't know. It was the weirdest thing ever, but who knows? But so waking up super early in the morning. It's time to get on the bus and head to the first game. What's going through your mind like as you're getting ready? Go ahead.
We didn't know anything because we didn't know it was the first game. We were just driving on a bus. We all thought like, oh, we're going to the dorms, we're gonna get our fit, and then we're gonna go right in, and then the games will start like whatever tonight or tomorrow. We had no idea it was gonna start immediately. And that was just like we go to the warehouse and we're like, oh, this is where the dorms are going to be. They're going to be in this warehouse. And then we go in the warehouse and then there's just this giant build of the red light, green light. And then they were like, you're going right in. They put the squibs on us and then bang, immediately, meaning like 8 hours later, but like it's essentially immediately. We're off to the races. And that was just so surreal because it's like that's not what we were preparing for. Like we knew it was coming, but there was always like it's later. Like I'm going to do the social thing first, meet people, do my thing, and then go. But I mean, just now I went down, and it makes sense because production-wise, like they don't want to house 400 people for a day because
Yeah.
how crazy
No,
that
I
is.
mean, I thought they were gonna put everybody in the dorms first. I
Mhm.
was convinced of that just because they're trying to keep it close to the show as possible. But I guess they just decided to scrap that idea. And
I mean, I kind
yeah,
of like it because again, like energy was at an all-time high in the beginning, so it's like they kind of just like took that and just like let you go, you know?
yeah. I only can imagine if everyone was in there at the beginning. Oh my gosh, how different that would have been. It would just been chaotic. Like,
Chaotic, like nobody. Oh my god, yeah.
no,
There's just no way.
they probably did a test with that, and they're like, "Nah, we should not do 400 people in this place."
It's
Crazy.
impossible. I think 200 was maybe also a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, no, definitely. So you in the tent and you see it's red light, green light from afar. You can kind of see a little bit inside of it. So it's finally time to walk up in there. And so when you walk into the arena, what's kind of going through your head when you see everything pop up?
Um, I mean, like again, like just shitting bricks. You're just like it's so surreal. Like you see how massive it is. And I remember TJ, who was like right behind me. He's like giving a pep talk to everybody like around him. And I was like, damn, I was just so like he was obviously not nervous at all, or at least he's not acting nervous at all. And I'm like, it's so crazy to me that these people are like, this is like such a big moment, like this is make or break for the entire game for just like for $4.56 million, and people are just so like chill about it. Like that was really surprising to me. Um, and again, like I was just like shaking just with excitement, like at an 11, just like let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Um,
So
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
no,
Okay,
I was
so
just ready to go.
so you're getting ready to do the test run and whatnot, and so
Yeah.
you're practicing. What's kind of your strategy going into this once you do this little practice run?
It's so funny because everybody had a strategy, but I think all of them changed immediately. Like the second there was the first red light, we were like, damn, this sucks. Everybody changed. I remember like first it was like the shuffle, right? You go side to side because it's easy to stop. And that was the focus, was like, how do you stop without like any sort of detection? And I gave that up pretty soon because once I tried sitting and that worked, and I'm sure we'll get into like the game itself, but like once I tried sitting and it worked, I was like, okay, so it doesn't stopping. I have enough time because the times they changed, but you kind of could detect when it was going to end, like a split second before. So it's like I have enough time to drop to my ass, so it's fine. And there was obviously like more than enough time, like 5 minutes was more than enough time to cross the 2 football fields or the football field or however long it was.
So
But yeah, go ahead.
no, continue.
I was gonna say, yeah, but my starting strategy was the side shuffle. And it was funny because like if you were like when we were getting squibbed up, you'd like go outside and you'd kind of do your practice and you're looking around and everybody's doing the side shuffle. And then in the game, like everyone does the side shuffle and then it calls red light and then green light again, and then no one's doing it anymore. It's like everybody changed.
Yeah, that side shuffle, that was my idea too, but I learned that was not the best plan because your back started seizing up, tensing up, your lower back. You felt like you just had a needle hitting your back again and again and again, and it was the worst pain ever. I mean, I literally thought I was gonna be the first one out. So
Yeah, same.
that plan quickly went out the window, and it's like, all right, this ain't gonna work because I thought we was gonna be here for a couple minutes, coach, and this ain't the game
This is
plan.
not happening. But how relieving was it when like that first red light ended and it was green light again? How great was that? Like that was such a fun feeling. You're just like, damn, I did it. Like I can do this 8 more times. Sure.
Yeah,
You know?
no, I was just like, look, I don't even know what I was thinking, to be honest. I was just trying to get to the first house, get to the second
Yeah.
house, get to the third house. I was just thinking houses, and then we'll keep going because it looked a very far distance away. Like it looked honestly like a
Yeah.
mile away.
Yeah, I did. Well, yeah, in the moment it looked so far. But props to that first person who took the bullet and was the first person out, because that has to be tough. And it's like when I because the first like the girl who first popped was right next to me. And I remember just being like, okay, good. It's not me at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the biggest fear. I mean, 318 RIP, that was her.
Yeah, right.
Corrections officer. She
You ought to get her on.
yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm gonna try. I didn't think about that. Well, that'll be a short podcast. No offense, 318.
That'd be kind of fun. I mean, it can't be much longer than or shorter than me. Like this, I was only in like one scene.
You had a lot going on though. You had a lot.
true.
You had a lot going on. So
That's true.
so yeah, strategy happening, and you're moving, you're making progress, and you're doing
Mhm.
pretty well. So you're getting close to the finish line. What are you thinking? Like you see the finish line, it's in sight. What's going through your head?
I'll tell you, because I was in that first batch of people that crossed. So for me, it was like, and I remember like Teo was in like striking distance. It was him and then the guy behind him. And then it was like me. And then there were some people next to me, but it was like, that was really like at the way end, that was the 3. And I was like, if I just sprinted and dove, I bet I could pass him. But then I replayed in my head, like my girlfriend before I went out, she was like, whatever you do, be patient, because she knows I'm just like, and I end up completely ignoring this by game 2. But by game 1, I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold back. I'm just going to let it play out. And then I'll be like, I'm guaranteed to make it. Cause by the end, you're like, my process works. You know what I mean? They're not going to get me now. The only reason they'd get me is if like either I trip and fall or the timer goes out. So I was like, I'm just going to play it safe, keep doing my thing. And then I'll still get in that first group, but I won't be first, which is fine. And then that was kind of the strategy, which is like, do I push it or do I relax? And I relaxed, and good thing I did. Cause I for sure would have been, cause they warned us before we went, you know, you can cross a line and they'll still pop you. And that was like my biggest fear, is like, I could go and be first. And then they use that to be like, let's pop this idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, that was the biggest fear.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna play it safe. And then they cut it out. They cut out that whole first group.
Yeah, I think they should have showed a lot more people crossing and a lot more people getting popped, honestly. I mean, 15 minutes does not do that game justice at all.
No.
I was like, what did you guys do with the rest of the footage? Those 10 hours of footage. Like, can we see it somewhere? Come on.
I think the lawsuit scared them.
Probably. I mean, look, I knew they wasn't going to show none of the crazy stuff that was going on, but I'm just like, y'all got it. 10 hours. That was the longest game out of
but they're not showing the stretchers, you know what I mean?
I need to show something,
It made it look so easy. I'm like, guys, it was hard.
Just put it behind a paywall, all right, and then they'll be safe.
Right. Then no one can do anything, obviously.
Exactly.
But yeah, I remember that. It was so funny because that first group that crossed, I think that they cut that because like everybody in that line of like that first 10 got just so cocky, and I think they all ended up going home within like the next 3 games. So then, like narratively, they're like, we can just cut this. It's irrelevant, essentially.
Yeah. Well, it would have been a good story, though. You know, they introduced some players and they cut them right away. But hey, it is what it is. But we find out that number 98 passes red light, green light. He's on cloud 9 right now. He's about to on his next step to win the game and the $4.56 million. So you get through it, no sweat off your back, and we get out of there. So it's funny, actually. I'll go in depth. So when we get out of there, since you were with me, we get on this bus afterwards, and you were sitting right in front of me or behind me on this bus, and we would not shut up the whole bus ride back.
They had to keep shutting us up. They're like, guys, you cannot talk on the bus, and we're like, we're trying.
Oh my, yeah, they kept shushing us, and we were like freaking out about making it. And
yeah, like how can you not? We were so hype.
Oh, we were like, it was like you gave us. We were like little kids with a bunch of sweets in our body, and we just went from this super low to this like immense high to where it was a 2-hour bus ride. I kid you not. We were not shutting up the whole ride back. Your eyes was wide like this the whole time. Freaking.
We won.
It was insane because, you know, we kind of felt like we did the impossible.
Yeah.
We had a Tom Cruise on, so.
And we did. I feel like we did kind of do the impossible.
I honestly don't like.
Because I noticed a lot of people that like, a lot of the other squids, they're doing like Q&As right now on their Instagram. And a lot of them that make it really deep, like people are like, what's the hardest game? And all of them, they say red light, green light.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was no game even close to hard to that. And, you know.
Yeah.
I guess they, you know, put the hardest one first, which I'm glad. They did tell me afterwards, that one of the producers told me this was the hardest game. She said that from the beginning. I was like, oh, if I got this, I can get the rest. So. And
I guess it makes sense. They're trying to get people out. You know, they want to. They had to get out 200 people to be able to fit them in the dorms. So, I mean, it's tough.
Definitely. Yep. So we get on the bus back, and this is the only one I'll get in depth with because you were actually with me. Yeah. So we went back, and we got back. We went to the hotel, and we go into this room, and we're all starving at this point.
Oh my god. Okay, we're allowed to talk about this. Okay, cool.
And we go upstairs, and we're taking forever to get upstairs, and we go to this little boardroom, and they have like one box of pizza.
Dude, that was.
I was just like, what are you thinking when you see this one box of pizza and it's pretty much gone by the time you kind of get in?
All of the excitement that had built was just immediately crashed because we were like, okay, so we're going to be starving because they hadn't fed us the entire day. And then they're like, by the way, we have no food here either. I'm like, then why did we come back to the hotel? What was the point? Because like, I thought the idea was that we'd be fed and we get like one more night of like peace before like actually entering the dorms. I don't even know why we went back at all, to be honest with you.
I think they were, honestly, what I think happened was they didn't think red light, green light would take as long as it did, just because people weren't getting out. And like when we was paused, I think they thought people were gonna be like obviously moving, but people weren't. So they had to weed the people out by having us there so long. And then with that being done, they have a certain number. I'm assuming they're trying to get around, and people were just hanging in there. And so they had to think of some things like, how are we gonna get these people out, because they're not getting out, and we can't have 400 300 people in this place. We need to narrow this thing down. So I think that's kind of what happened. I mean, the testing only does so hard. I mean, the testers in the game aren't gonna try that's like their hardest, because they have nothing to gain.
Yeah.
So I guess they underestimated the will of the people in there. So that might have been a thing. And then it just lasted so long to where it was like, we can't send these people into these dorms now because they're going to be so tired. They're just going to go to sleep.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Bless them. Again, this is probably the hardest thing ever to make, because, rallying 400 people who want to be reality stars has to be tough.
Yeah, exactly. So to say the least, going back to the hotel wasn't the worst thing. We got to sleep in a nice bed and take a shower.
But I got woken. Did you get waken up too? Because I had like a knock on my door at 3 a.m, and I opened it, and there's like a Big Mac down there. And I'm like, okay, so we are going to be fed, but it's like 3 a.m, and we don't have clocks or anything because they don't want us to know the time. So I'm guessing 3 a.m, but it felt like super late.
Yeah, no, I'm a narcoleptic and I slept through that, so I didn't eat anything.
It's a bad way to enter, because the food once we got in wasn't great either.
Yeah, no, the thing is, I grabbed the Big Mac, so in the morning we wake up, I grab it and I bring it with me. I'm like, I'm taking this with me,
nice.
And they grab it from me before I get on the bus. I was so mad. I was like, y'all gotta be playing with me. Like,
I thought I could eat this. You should have had it while you had the chance.
I should have, but in my head, I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna give us catered food when we get in there.
There's gonna be craft services.
I thought it was gonna be some craft services up in there. Like, we got something. I didn't know it was gonna be that dire.
Just nutrients in a tin.
I don't know why I was thinking I was gonna get treated special. I think they fooled me by picking me up in that nice Cadillac.
Yeah, that's what it was. The driver. I felt like the man.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is gonna be lit. Like, we about to be kicking it.
No, here's some like rice and 2 carrots.
Yeah, and that's what they gave us, and it wasn't pleasant. But I digress. So we get on the bus and head out, and it's time to get ready to go in the dorms. So when you first kind of step in the dorms, what's kind of going through your head?
I think the same as red light, green light. You're just so in awe of what you're seeing. I was surprised. Like, I don't know why I'm surprised, but there was just so many more cameras than I thought there were going to be. Like, every bunk having a camera, like, that's crazy. Like, you go to bed and there's just like one here, and then there's like one right there, and they're kind of just going around, and you're like, oh, who are they watching? Because they were kind of controlled, and they would go back and forth. I don't want to give away production secrets, but
I mean, you can see it if you look, you can see them. I mean,
you can't hide it.
It's called a secret. But really paying attention to these cameras.
But that was crazy, just seeing how many there was, and then obviously the guards, like this, the daunting presence they just always had was cool.
Definitely.
I think it was just cool. It was cool. It felt like real. Like, once you get in there, it felt real because everybody's in the tracksuits. We're no longer getting like shuttled anywhere. Like, there's no more sun, or you don't know what time of day it is. It's just you're there until you're out. Like, it's official. You're now in prison.
Yeah, no, definitely. It did feel like, I'm not that I've been to prison, but it did feel like prison to an extent. I mean, we're all locked in there and there's no way to get out. And it's kind of like, oh shit, like, I can't get out of here. Like,
I can't imagine, like, that first, like, the day or two was just nothing but small talk, where everybody was just stuck in the room and they're just kind of bouncing around, just like, oh, how are you? What do you do for work? Where are you from? What city? Oh, I got a cousin there, or whatever. And that was kind of like, for me, expecting Survivor, it was like the real version of it, where it's like, okay, we're here 24/7. These people need to actually get to know each other. It's not all going to be interesting,
Yeah. Did you have any like strategy getting in there with like who you wanted to kick it with,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big guy. I'm like 90 freaking pounds or whatever. So my initial strategy was like, obviously the big guys, because we knew that they had done red light, green light. So that implied that there was going to be similar games. So I was like, okay, tug of war. Like, that's kind of what everyone was thinking. Like, oh, we got to get, the muscle. Obviously it ended up not mattering at all. But that was going in like my strategy, like, know your strengths, know your weaknesses. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to pull, my weight as far as tug of war goes. So it was, be friends with a lot of the bigger dudes. And then I think there were other people that were doing that strategy. Like Hannah was like always doing that. And I was like, I think she's also planning for this. And it was just kind of funny. But again, ended up not mattering. But it was cool because they're all cool people anyways. So it ended up not really, they would have been my friends anyways.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, tug of war was on everyone's mind from the first day. It's like you see all the sides of the guys, and people are trying to be friends with them, and seeing them as targets at the same time. So that's
that read to me as like the only challenge where like strategy was actively helpful, because a lot of the other challenges like Dalgona, like what is a strategy really going to do? It's not going to ultimately save you. I remember Brad was super helpful for Dalgona. I didn't obviously get that, but like he was kind of giving me like tips and stuff, and it was all very helpful. But like strategy at the end of the day, like the social game, I feel like it was underutilized because the games ended up rendering them pretty useless. And alliances kind of to the same degree, because every time there's a challenge, half of everybody goes home. It's not like Survivor or Big Brother where it's one at a time. Every time there's a challenge, half of everyone's gone. So the chance of you losing the alliance you just made immediately tomorrow, it was always pretty high.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of people you met in red light, green light, gone.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It just goes to show like there's not the whole alliance thing. I wasn't really keen on because I'm like, there's no really point of making alliances.
There's
I
no
guess
point.
making friends. It's just like it benefits you or it doesn't. Because I had a hunch. I'm like, there's no way they're gonna do red light, green light, tug of war regularly, or even at all. I just didn't. Honestly, I did because I thought there's a liability because people could get hurt.
Yeah.
We're not in college, and this is one fraternity doing the other fraternity in a mud pit, and it's just
yeah, it's actually very physical. Yeah.
Yes, because people can get trampled, and you don't want to see a small girl have a serious injury. So in my head I was just like, there's no way they're doing it exactly like that. I don't believe it. But I was right, so I wasn't too worried about that. I was just not worried about that. But
yeah, for me, it was like I kind of figured the same thing, and I think a lot of people did. It was just like just in case,
No, 100%. And what happened at that point. So
yeah,
we get on. We living in the dorms, having a good old time. Everybody's hunky dory, kumbaya. Clicking their heels with each other.
Yeah,
it's a good old time.
Everything's great. There actually was a period where it was really fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. Up until 200 gets eliminated. So when that happens, what are you kind of thinking?
I remember being like, okay, one person's gone. You know what I mean? Like you see the thing tick up 10 grand. You're like, okay.
Yeah, it was like a little doo and all.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, this is a lot of buildup for just like it to go down 10K. And it had gone down more because there had been medevacs in between the games, like people who had left, and it didn't go up at all. The money. So I was like, it's kind of just the same thing, but this is more dramatic. And it's like I didn't feel like I was like really rubbing anybody the wrong way. So it wasn't like I felt like I was at risk or anything. If I was 432, maybe. Not just because he had been, ruffling feathers too.
Was he ruffling feathers?
I guess you'd have to ask other people, but I liked him. I mean, I had good talks with him, but I could see it like, he was just very domineering, and I could see that like if it was another domineering figure that was giving the vote, I could see them being threatened by that and knocking him out. You know what I mean? So like I would have been concerned had I been him. But they took out 200, and I didn't even talk to 200 really. I don't even really know who that was.
He's a good dude, very good dude. Muthi, I had a long conversation with him the day he got eliminated. So I was like, dang, I was just talking to this dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
damn. I wonder, do you know why? Like, do you know what it was that got him eliminated? I don't want to be redundant because I'm sure they do it in the show.
Well, basically, 101 and 134, they were thinking of someone to eliminate, and they picked him because they said he was friends with everyone. He was a very popular guy, and he was very charismatic, which I don't know. Like, who cares?
I was about to say, again, like, that doesn't really help you in Dalgona. Like, that's not going to...
Yeah, the reasoning was very silly to me in my eyes. Like, okay, this guy's popular. Like, is that going to be an advantage to him or something?
No, yeah.
That was ultimately their reasoning. They wanted to eliminate a powerful player, which makes zero sense. I mean, just eliminate somebody you don't know.
Yeah. Or eliminate, like, again, like, eliminate someone who's a physical threat at least, because at least that would give you a better shot. Like, okay, going back to, like, one of the bigger guys, but, like, take out one of them, because if there is tug of war, like, most people thought there wouldn't be, but if there was, at least you're taking that piece off the board, and that's not a factor anymore. you know.
100%. And it was just silly to me. I mean,
I think like any other duo, I think it's weird. Like if you had any other duo in there, it would have been someone different. I think that's like, it wouldn't have been 200 if you had anybody else in there.
yeah, no, they definitely was keen on, because they were. I'm not gonna give their secrets away, but they were definitely keen on who they decided to give that power to, because they didn't earn the power at all. They just gave it to someone.
And that's another thing, okay? Because for Dalgona, we knew that there was going to be some sort of decider, like we had talked about it in the dorms, because like you can't just give 1/4 of your cast a 95% chance of going home. You just can't do it. So in that same vein, you can't randomly give an advantage to 2 random people. Like I feel like it's kind of the same exact thing. You can't just like bestow these power randomly upon whoever you like.
It was ridiculous. I think they should have gave it to the first part, Tayo, who finished red light, green light first, and then whoever finished second. Like that's exactly what it should.
Brilliant idea. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Like, I thought he, like, if somebody eliminated, I was like, oh, it's probably him, but it was just two just random people, you know. And then they gave them a little time, and I look, I'm doing this is future reference. I'm sneak peeking. I'm doing a Patreon only video about all the eliminations that take place in the game and my theory behind certain things.
Ooh, fun. That's a really fun idea.
I'm gonna have to go in on certain things. But that's in the future when everything's said and done, when I see everything.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun idea. That's really fun.
So yeah. So we see him leave, and then we get some sleep, and then a couple nights more, and then it's time to go to the second game. So we go to Dalgona and we walk into the white room. So when we walk into the white room, what's kind of going through your head?
Pure hubris. I was like, me and everyone in that first 10 just had such like a sense of false confidence. Like we're like, okay, we're the man, like we got this. So I walk in and I'm, my dialogue, I'm just like, my gut's telling me 3. It's like, okay, is your gut saying that?
So why did you decide to be first in line though?
Yeah, my thought was just like, I knew there was going to be a decider. I knew there was probably going to be some sort of game to figure out who was going to get what. And in my head, because I hadn't practiced because I can't really cook for shit, I was like, all I knew was the statistics. I knew Circle had a 90% chance survival rate because there's no corners. That's kind of where they get you. It's kind of just... So 90% success rate on the Circle, which is great. And then like Triangle was, a little bit lower. It was like 80%. And then the Star was still 50-50. So you still had a pretty good shot of staying. And then Umbrella was a 95% failure rate. So it was just on like the other end of the spectrum. Like you're guaranteed almost, especially someone who hadn't practiced. Like I bet you all the people that did survive Umbrella were people that I bet nobody made it who hadn't practiced. So I was like, okay, so I need a guarantee I don't get Umbrella. If it's a game like hopscotch or monkey bars, I think I got it down because I'm, pretty young. At least I'm not last. You know what I mean? I feel like if I had a game, I could at least not get last. I could be happy with one of the other 3, but at least like Destiny would be in my own hands. Like at least it's my game to win or lose. And then you walk in there and I like see the playground and I'm like, yes, it's going to be a game. Like exactly what I thought. And then the second debate is like mentioned that it's a debate. It all like the dynamic just flips immediately. And I become the young guy to steamroll, And I remember immediately being like, "Oh shit!" The second the lady was done talking, I'm like, "They're gonna try and fuck me on this."
Yeah, man. You step to the front of the line, and they bring y'all in, and they say that you guys have 2 minutes to decide on
what the fuck was that?
Everyone, yeah, I know, bro. Tell me.
That's not enough. We were like 20% through a full conversation, and then you look up and it's like, 15 seconds left. You're like, damn, like this is not happening.
Yeah, no, it was kind of crazy. I think it should have been a little bit longer, but that was just me. But yeah, they say 2 minutes, and they say that you cannot play a game to decide on who gets what shape, which is key because they did not put this in the show.
Yeah.
So that's why, you don't see people playing paper, rock, scissors.
Everybody's been DMing me that. Do rock, paper, scissors. I'm like, that was the first thought. Of course. That's like that's what everybody was going to do. And then they say no games. I guess that doesn't imply races. Since when has a race not been a game?
Look, they didn't stop us. That's all I'm gonna say.
I
But
mean, good genius. I mean, I wish we had thought of like I didn't know. Maybe they let it slide because they were like maybe wanting you guys to figure it out because they were like, oh, we already have our team that went home. Let's keep them in.
I think that was something they wanted to keep in there, but they took it out just because it did end up doing the race, and the race looked for good TV. Like
Yeah.
it
Oh,
looked,
true.
like that's good. We got to keep that in there because
It did look cool.
it looks cool, and so they're like, let's just nix that last part that they put and just make this the rules, which I just was shaking my head on because I'm like, you guys, like, it's TV, it's TV.
It's TV. But it makes us look like dumbasses, like all four of us, because because we're like, oh, how do we figure this out? Rock, paper, scissors,
You know. So when you get in there, you have time to discuss what's kind of going through your mind, like the first thing when you're trying to figure out what's going on.
It's for me, and I knew this in the moment, but I was having trouble articulating it because it's so immediate. Like I feel like if I had another minute, I would have been able to figure out like a way to put it into words. But for me, it was like I knew I wasn't going to be able to do umbrella. That's the reason I wanted to be first in line, was to not get umbrella, to make sure of it, because I knew I was going to go home if I got it. Hindsight, back in line, you still have a 3/4 chance of not getting it. But I digress. Whatever. At least then it was my decision. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it. So I should have just been like, if any of you have practiced, if any of you have done it, you should pick it, because it'd be dumb if you didn't, because either way, we're all going to go home. So if you've practiced it, do it. And I think that might have maybe swayed somebody, because again, like if you have practice, it feels like a no-brainer. And there was somebody I was talking to in post-processing. I forgot which one. I forgot who it was, but I was talking to one of them and they were like, yeah, I practiced it a few times. I'm like, then why didn't you pick it? Because the game was at stake here. And it's like, you chose either going, you chose essentially go, again, if we had more time, we would have been able to talk about it. Instead of, what ended up happening, which was we kind of just stood there in silence for like the last 15 seconds as everybody was thinking what to do. And then, we all went home.
So you guys, I vividly remember you guys getting in there, and it's kind of an awkward silence, like, well, what are you gonna do?
This is the other thing too. We're walking up and we're all like fist bumping and we're like, this is gonna be so fun. Like, let's just have fun. Like, let's do it, because we didn't know how fucking intense it was gonna be. Obviously, like I'm sure y'all's walk was very different than our walk.
Nobody was talking to anybody.
Our walk was so like, I mean, it was way chummier than the exit. I'll tell you that. And then, like they say the thing, and then it's like, okay, they want us to hate each other. They want us to, like, the whole thing was argument. It was a debate. And then there you go.
It was pretty thick debate. You guys are arguing like, who's gonna get what and blah blah. And then
I liked boy girl. I thought that made sense.
I mean, because the boy was first.
Because it put me either at star or circle, which was fine and great.
So, a guy walks up to circle, a woman walks up to triangle, and then a girl walks up to star. So you're the only one standing there without a shade. And
I know.
Like you're walking they're convincing you. It seems like they're convincing you.
I was never gonna do it. I mean, I was walking up just to be like, I want to be closer. I feel like I'm weird out here. Whatever. I might as well have sat down.
So you were never gonna touch umbrella?
No, there's no world.
Okay, because it did look like you were gonna touch it for a second there, like
right. But that outcome that I went to in my head was the final outcome. It was like, I'm not doing that. Fuck no.
So, the clock is ticking, time's up. You guys get popped. What's going through your head as you you get popped? What's going on in your head right after that?
Well, because they didn't tell us we were gonna die, so it was really more of like
true. So I'm glad you said that. I thought you were gonna have to just be forced to pick umbrella because you were the only one with your hand.
Yeah, right. And so they popped, and I was like, right. I was like, that's right. Duh. Like, why didn't I just assume? Like, obviously.
Yeah, and I was shook. I mean, the room, you weren't in there, which unfortunately you didn't get to see that. I'm sure you've heard it and you saw it on TV, but TV does not do it justice. That room was going berserk. Like,
damn.
It was like a football game. And it was down to the last second field goal kicker to make the game win.
They cut out my last line, though.
Yeah, they did. Can
They
you say
did
the
what it
last
is.
line for the people?
Well, yeah, I was just like, because I like, it was kind of a bluff. Again, we didn't know for sure if we were going home or whatever, but I was just like, I guess we're all going to die then.
Yep.
But again, I was 50-50. I was like, are we going to die? I don't know, but I'm going to say it. Maybe it'll Hail Mary somebody out of it.
Yeah, you did say that. It was kind of epic, and I'm mad they didn't keep that in there. And well, they've edited it and make you look like the one that didn't make the decision, which I guess, but that's not really fair to
I
your.
mean, again, like it's silly. Like, okay, so it's the other players. Obviously, I'm not getting Christmas cards from them. They're not my biggest fans, but they're not like we all were kind of making the same non-decision. It wasn't like decision or non-decision. We were like, we're all picking not Umbrella. That's the decision. So, and then again, like talk about the girl who ended up going on a star. It's like boy, girl, boy, girl. She goes up to him and she's like, wait a minute, I'm not fucking doing that. Like everyone, and then like you guys with the race, it's like, oh yeah, we'll do a race, and then you lose, and it's like, fuck no, I'm not gonna do that. Like it's fun until you get Umbrella, then it's like I'm not doing that, you know.
You gotta stand. I keep saying this. You gotta stand by what you agree on. If you make an agreement, boy, girl, do it. And if
You gotta
that's
do it.
you just gotta man up, woman up, and take that. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, that's how the world works. But apparently, you don't live in a real world. You live in fantasy land where you get everything that you want. And if I had more time in there, I would have been saying these things that I'm saying now. Because
exactly. If I just had another minute, it would have been. I would have been able to articulate it way better. You know what I mean?
but you're rushed, you don't have
You're
time.
rushed.
You know, it's a high tense situation as well. And so
Very tense.
you know, it's not on your shoulders that you guys all got out. It's everyone's shoulders because
Yeah.
anybody could have been like, you know what? I'll take Umbrella because I don't want to die. Anybody could have did that. And I don't like people saying,
Yeah.
well, it was your decision to make. Well, it was everyone's decision to make. And none of us could come to it and
Yeah.
everybody's to blame and we all have to be self-eliminated.
And speaking on my point, like if I had practiced, I would have picked Umbrella. It would have been a no-brainer. Like that was kind of like, oh, could I do it? And it's like, no, I can't. But like, had I practiced and I knew what I was getting into, I'd do it. I don't care. Like, I get it. Like, it also, some people were like who were there was kind of playing a little bit selfless. It was like a selfless move. And I guess I did save the people in my group, but ultimately it was like my Hail Mary. It's like either I'm out or I'm out. So it's like I might as well just wait and see. Either I don't die and I get it anyways, or someone hops and I get a chance at survival here.
Yeah, no, definitely. So looking back, if you could put yourself back in that stance and, you know, you knew someone was going to be eliminated and they said this to you, would you have picked Umbrella?
No, no way. Again, it was a lose. I was going to, okay. There are things I would have done differently. It's foolish for me to be like, I did it perfectly, obviously. But the things that I would have changed, that's not one of them. It's like I would have, listened to my girlfriend's voice in my head saying, be patient, sit back in line, right? Don't be an idiot. And then on top of that, I would have also practiced at home. I would have learned the recipe. And then, yeah, that's it. That way, either way, I would have been good. But I didn't do either of those things. That wasn't the reality of it. The reality was I was in the playground room, which was misleading. When you walk in and you see the playground, you think it's going to be a game, and it's not. It's a debate. It might as well have been a courtroom. And then I like it done. I mean, just articulate it better again. Like, just be like, if you practice, do it. Yeah. There's no reason to give up the game.
No, 100%. It was definitely toughest on you guys because you were the test dummies for that, and you know.
But either way, the game was over for me, so I might as well go out saving my people, and then also see if it happens.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I mean, it was a very, I think anybody that was in the first line, that would have been in the first line, they would have got out.
You know, thank God for Spencer. There's a chance that just would have wiped out like more groups.
You know what? I think, which I stand by, Spencer would have picked Triangle, which was Brighton's line. Brighton would have went to Umbrella 100%.
That's a whole other thing. Like, it's a damn shame that he didn't hear that, Spencer, because I remember at the hotel someone saying like, "Oh, Brighton was like, I'll pick it," and I'm like, that's such like a valuable piece of information. Had Spencer heard that. It sucks he didn't, because he could have totally been like, he could have. Go ahead.
People did tell him that. You don't worry about it. Just pick the same color, shape as
yeah.
And he'll run.
And if he's gonna not give up, and he was such a big personality, and he's such like a winner-oriented guy that he should have assumed anyways that he wasn't gonna go home for this. Spencer could have sat down and been like, "Go to Umbrella, or I'm not getting up," you know. Yep. And then he would have done it.
Yep, 100%, man. But
easy in hindsight, right? Yeah, exactly. Easy in hindsight.
Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, that ends Players 98's journey to get his $4.56 million.
Who knows? Maybe I get revived.
Look, I'm waiting for the Monster Reborn card to come through, Coach, and tell us like, okay, y'all back in the game. I was waiting for that the whole time when we were like in that waiting dock.
Would you have changed it? Would you have picked Umbrella? We talked about this in post a little bit, but I'm curious to see if this has changed.
You know, I would have picked it if I deserve to pick it, and I mean that by like, okay, I lost the race or whatever we agreed on, that was my
Sure.
destination. I'm not doing it because I I'm just gonna like, oh, I'm just gonna pick it because you guys aren't following the rules of what we planned, you know? If
That's a good point. It's true.
and I think I probably would have done the same thing just because I wanted to try it. Sure, if you give me the chance, okay, I guess I'll pick Umbrella as I'll be the bigger person out of
Yeah.
everybody. But in that
Yeah.
moment, I go back there and I knew what I knew then. I'm not picking it again and again. You could do a simulation 100 times and I'm probably not going to pick it because
The race is crazy because the race, that's such like a definitive you lost pick it moment. Like boy, girl, I kind of get at the end of the day because it's like, oh, I didn't lose anything. Like, why would I do it? You just said girl last, But like a race, it's like you lost. We ran. They let us do it, and you lost. Like that's crazy. That's like a dream scenario. They let you do it.
and we agreed on it too. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but it was God.
We want to talk about it. You should get him on. That would be fun.
Oh boy. I mean,
That would be fun.
look, the one who lost the race is coming on. Laverne. So
Nice.
I will have a chat with her, but that's not for a while. But yeah, she's coming on, and
Nice. That'll be a good one.
So yeah, but I was not happy with any of them afterwards, and they're trying to convince me you should have picked the umbrella. You should have picked it. I'm like, why can't y'all do it?
Exactly. It's so easy. Whatever. It's so easy. Like people on Twitter have so many opinions about it, but it's like you don't understand how bad your because I knew the stats. You don't know how bad your odds are if you get umbrella.
Exactly.
Like it's way worse than you think.
Yeah, terrible. But you get eliminated, and then you get home. So what's your kind of feeling once you get back home?
I'll tell you, I was all over the place with it because I was like, either they're gonna make me look like the idiot, like the dumb kid who's stubborn, who planted his foot and had a temper tantrum, or they'll play me as the guy who saved his line. Like I don't know which way they're gonna go because I did a lot of interviews, like I did a lot of the post processing stuff, and like I was like I tried to keep it as like honest as possible. I'm like I want them to be able to cut whatever they want out of it, so I just said my perspective, and I'm like they'll be able to come up with something. I mean, they ultimately, I guess, narratively didn't make any sense because, like, again, they do it one more time with you, and then they do it again with Spencer and Brighton. Spencer and Brighton kind of steal the moment, which makes way more sense because Brighton's kind of the main character of that first half, anyways. But I was just like, damn, they could do anything with this. This could, this is either one way or the other. It could be very dramatic, very drastic. And then I had people telling me, like, on the cast, like, taking pictures and being like, this is such a big moment. It's going to be awesome for you. But I'm like, it's easy for them to say because they were part of the line that was either saved or they saw it in that room, like you said, that was very boisterous and very excited. So I'm like, who knows how they can make it look in that final cut, So it was really mostly just concern over that. But it's fine. It ended up just being fine.
So you were cool when you got home?
Yeah, I was not cool. I was very mad that I went home. But that was kind of my thought process on the moment itself. But I mean, dude, you too, man. It was probably just so, you get back and you're just like, everything feels so unimportant, even though like in the grand scheme, going on a reality show is really unimportant, but it feels really important when you're there. It feels like the greatest thing ever. And then you come back and you're just like back to like, oh shit, like we get back in January, taxes are coming up in a couple of months. I got to go back to work. And it's like, shit, this sucks.
Yeah, the feeling of going back to reality definitely hit hard, especially when there's the cash prize.
Yeah, that sucks.
Still going on, so definitely a mental toll. But luckily, we had the communication, and that helped talking to people in the group chat and all that stuff. So,
I mean, that was ultimately because we didn't get anything monetarily out of it, but we got friends. We got people.
Yeah,
and that's cool.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's cool, like you come, like if you came to LA, like you got probably so many couches to crash on, or if I come, there's like so many friends in cities. It's cool. Like any city I go to, I probably have a friend there now, and that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, no, definitely. Is there anyone from the cast you kind of like routinely keep in touch with?
Yeah, I mean, we have a SoCal group that we have the plans this weekend, and we're doing something next weekend. So, I mean, I'm in a great location for it because like. There was a lot of influencers on Squid Games, and a lot of them live in LA. So, you make the group chat and you're in it, and you got to come out here soon.
I know, man. This actor strike kept me from traveling a little bit out there, but it's over now. So I'm about to be back out there soon. So
yeah, now you're in.
Yeah.
Shit, you might as well just move. Join the group chat.
look, it might be happening soon. We'll see what things happen. But things go on. But,
Yeah, Preston, he just, I don't want to dox him, but nah, never mind.
good. I'll probably be back there in January, or late January. I think. Well, we'll talk on that.
Cool. Yeah, just let me know, and then we got to do something.
100%. But yeah, man, that was a crazy journey that you had. Is there any lasting words that you want to give to the people?
I shouldn't have picked Umbrella. Stop! Get out of my DMs. I see them.
Get out this man's DMs, y'all. Quit crying about something that shouldn't have been in the first place.
You're damn right. You know, I again, if I had to do it again, I hopefully this is nice. I got to at least explain the thought process.
I mean, I think you should have picked Umbrella.
I think I really, honestly, you probably should have picked Umbrella because then you could have at least stayed in the game and that would have been cool. And then Hikmat would be in the game and he's a buddy of mine too.
Hey, I could have had the clout Spencer got right now.
I felt so well. If you had picked Umbrella and survived, that would have been the moment. That would have been like leader shit right there.
Well, I'll say this lastly. So Spencer's getting a lot of clout from this Umbrella. If you knew the type of clout you was gonna get by picking Umbrella, would have picked Umbrella? If you could have seen it, you gotta had a whisper in your ear like, look, picking Umbrella is the worst shape, but you about to have all these extra followers. You about to have a lot of TV time.
Yeah, true.
Would you have picked it then?
Am I in Spencer? Am I the third group, or am I still the first group?
You're the first group.
I don't think so. Shit. Okay, and I'm going home. I'm guaranteed going home, like I would be if I had picked Umbrella. Yeah, I probably still wouldn't have done it.
Yes.
Because my goal was to stay in the game, and it's like, and again, if I'm first group, I don't know if I'm dying. I'm staying back, seeing. Either way, I'm getting Umbrella because in my head, it's like if I default to Umbrella, I have it anyways. Or someone jumps and I can get the better shape. So I think I'm still doing it because that's like I'm trying to like stay beyond Dalgona. But damn, he is getting a lot of screen time, isn't he? He's getting a lot of press. Honestly, he was in good spirits. I saw him the next morning at the hotel. He seemed fine.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, it was just the trauma at the moment, but
trauma of the moment. I mean, I can only imagine like that third group, like everybody's sick of it. People are yelling at you like that. I mean, that had to have been brutal.
Yeah, it sucked when the people ran up to you because after you guys got out, the people in the line had a chance to come talk to us, and like everyone's yelling in your face, like don't pick them, like you saw it, and
damn, was it like, oh my god, was everyone's coming up to you and they're like yelling at you and shit? They're like, you got to make sure, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It sucked. I hated that part the most. I wish they just sent us in right after you guys, or we didn't see what you guys did.
Well, that's my bad. Because had I picked Umbrella, I would have spared you from that.
It's whatever. Things happen.
Well, had anybody picked Umbrella, I would have spared you from that.
I mean, look, it is what it is. I don't dwell on the past. I just look towards the future, man, and learn from things that I went through. But
yeah, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. But hey, man, we about to get up out of here. Can you tell the people where they could find you on social media?
Yeah, _Zach Chaloux _ Okay, don't forget it. It's so funny. Like I'm getting like fan edits and stuff. So tag me if you make a fan edit. It's kind of hilarious. My girlfriend loves them.
Well, I need to see these fan edits. That's lit because I ain't got. Well, I'll show you one after we get out here.
I looked like Justin Bieber. Like I feel like it's just like prime fan edit material.
Hey, Team Player 98 fan club. I'm in there.
Yeah, and I hope the winner was in my line. I'll say that. I know who the winner is, but I'm not gonna obviously.
We'll spoil it. But all right, y'all. We about to get up out of here. Appreciate you, Zach, for coming through. You a blessing, man. Keep your head up. You smart. You got a long, promising future ahead of you, regardless of the outcome. And definitely keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, and if you're still listening, subscribe. Do the Patreon. That video is gonna be sick when it comes out. You need a co-host. You let me know.
Oh, okay, coach. Don't tempt me with a good time now.
That sounds fun.
All right, y'all. Until next time, we out here. Peace and blessings.
Bye, everyone.